You know what separates a man who commands respect from one who begs for it? It is not his bank account. It is not his job title. It is how he carries himself when nobody is watching. The gap between middle-class thinking and genuine wealth has never been clearer, and it shows up in the smallest daily choices most men never question. Walk into any upscale restaurant, and you will spot the difference within seconds. One man fidgets with his phone every 30 seconds, checking likes on his vacation photos. Another sits quietly, phone face down, fully present in the moment. The wealthy have figured out something crucial. Privacy and being disconnected from constant digital validation has become the ultimate status symbol. While everyone else drowns in a feedback loop of social media approval, truly confident men have unplugged from the noise. Here is what nobody tells you about confidence. It has nothing to do with being the loudest voice in the room or flexing your accomplishments. Confidence whispers while insecurity screams. And right now, millions of men are screaming without realizing it. They are trapped in middle-class behaviors that broadcast one message. I need you to validate me. I need you to see me. I need you to believe I have made it. But the men who have actually made it? They stopped caring about that validation years ago. Let me paint you a picture. 61% of households earning over $250,000 annually do not drive luxury car brands. They drive Hondas, Toyotas, Fords. Meanwhile, the guy making $70,000 a year just signed a lease on a BMW he cannot afford, convinced that his car will make people respect him. It will not, because people who understand money recognize immediately what that car actually represents: debt disguised as success. The wealthy view cars as depreciating assets, not as trophies for display. They understand something fundamental that most men miss entirely. Real power does not announce itself. Think about the last time you saw someone wearing a shirt covered in designer logos. What was your first thought? Be honest. You probably thought one of two things. Either this person wants me to know they spent money, or this person wants me to think they have money. True luxury among the wealthy operates on a completely different frequency. They prefer understated brands most people have never heard of, prioritizing timeless quality over recognition. Because when you actually have resources, you do not need a giant logo to prove it. Loud branding signals recent wealth or the desire to appear wealthy, while subtle craftsmanship speaks to genuine confidence. But here is where it gets interesting. The behaviors that separate confident men from insecure ones go far deeper than what they wear or drive. Truly confident men embrace vulnerability and are not afraid to admit when they are wrong. They understand that acknowledging mistakes is not weakness, but a testament to their strength. They do not need to be right in every argument. They do not need to dominate every conversation. They can sit in silence without fidgeting because they are comfortable with who they are. Meanwhile, insecure men talk over everyone, interrupt constantly, and raise their voices when they start losing a debate, mistaking volume for authority. Confident men take on challenges even when afraid because they understand that confidence is not about being unafraid, but about acting despite that fear. They embrace change because they know life guarantees only change, death and taxes. They prepare for it. They adapt to it. They do not resist it like scared children clinging to what feels safe. And when you watch how they move through space, you notice something immediately. Their body language is controlled and deliberate. They maintain eye contact without staring. They move slowly and purposefully. They remain cool and collected even in uncertain situations. Every gesture communicates one thing: I'm in control of myself, which means I can handle whatever comes my way. Now pay attention because this is critical. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. 7, not one paycheck they depend on like a lifeline. Not a single job they pray does not disappear. 7 different ways money flows into their life. But most middle-class men, they have one income stream and they treat it like it will last forever, then act shocked when the company downsizes or the economy shifts. Confident, wealthy men do not act like one paycheck is guaranteed to cover them forever. They build side projects, invest in assets that generate passive income, and diversify their earning potential. They understand that relying on a single source of income is not security. It is vulnerability, disguised as stability. Here is another pattern you will notice. About 80% of clothes in the average closet never get worn. 80%. Think about that. Middle-class families fall into this endless cycle of buying things to keep up with trends, accumulating wardrobes full of items they never touch. Wealthy individuals flip this completely. They live by the principle of less but better, investing in fewer high-quality pieces rather than chasing every trend. They understand that a closet stuffed with mediocre clothes costs more than a smaller collection of exceptional items. Quality over quantity, timeless over trendy. Substance over flash. And speaking of substance, let us talk about something most men avoid: taking care of their mental and physical health. Many people neglect daily exercise, eat cheap processed food, and avoid doctor visits to, quote, save money, unquote. But poor health costs far more in the long run through medical bills, lost work time, and reduced energy. Studies show that being physically fit is closely tied to high confidence levels. People who exercise regularly report increased self-esteem, not just from how they look, but from the feel-good hormones that enrich their mental and emotional states. Confident men work out not because they love it, but because they respect themselves enough to invest in their longevity. They understand their body is the vehicle carrying them through life, and if they trash it, everything else collapses. But physical health is only half the equation. Men who are truly secure and confident understand the importance of taking care of their mental well-being. They check in with themselves regularly, acknowledge their feelings and emotions, and seek help when things get tough. They do not walk around pretending everything is fine when it is not. They do not bottle up stress until it explodes. They deal with it. They process it. They grow from it. Because here is a hard truth: unaddressed mental health issues do not just disappear. They compound like interest on debt, growing larger and more destructive over time until they control your entire life. Now, here is where most men completely miss the mark. The keeping up with the Joneses phenomenon traps countless middle-class individuals without them even realizing it. They try to match or exceed the lifestyle of their peers, leading to unnecessary expenditures on depreciating assets. They see their neighbor buy a new boat, so they finance one too. Their colleague gets a bigger house, so they stretch their budget beyond reason. Their friend posts vacation photos from Europe, so they book a trip they cannot afford. Wealthy individuals understand that true wealth is not about displaying status symbols, but building long-term financial security. They know that most displays of wealth are financed by debt, not actual money. So instead of trying to impress people who do not matter, they focus on building assets that appreciate. Let me tell you something about gratitude that will change how you see confidence. Men who are secure and confident make practicing gratitude a daily habit. They reflect on what they are grateful for, big or small. For them, gratitude is not just saying thank you, but an attitude, a way of life. Regularly practicing gratitude actually boosts self-esteem, because when you are grateful, you acknowledge the good in your life. You focus on your achievements, your strengths, and the positive aspects of your existence, which reinforces a positive self-image and fosters self-worth. Insecure men focus on what they lack, constantly comparing themselves to others and finding themselves deficient. Confident men focus on what they have, building from abundance rather than scarcity. Here is something that will separate you immediately from 90% of men. Boundaries. Setting and maintaining healthy boundaries is a sign of self-respect. It shows that you value yourself enough to protect your own well-being. Men who are truly secure and confident understand the importance of boundaries. They know it is okay to say no, to prioritize their own needs, to step back when something does not feel right. They do not let others walk over them, but they also do not impose themselves on others. They understand where they end and other people begin. Most men either have zero boundaries, letting everyone take advantage of them, or they have walls instead of boundaries, pushing everyone away. Confident men find the balance. Now let us talk about something uncomfortable: victim mentality. Confident adult men do not wallow in victim mentality or let past failures dictate future success. They understand that sometimes you have to mess things up in order to figure things out. They take ownership of their choices. They take responsibility for their outcomes. They do not blame the economy, their parents, their boss, their ex, or their circumstances for where they are. They recognize that while they cannot control everything that happens to them, they can absolutely control how they respond, and that response determines everything. Genuinely confident men are not afraid of failure. They embrace it. They see it not as a dead end, but as a detour or a stepping stone toward their goals. Instead of allowing failure to cripple them, they use it as fuel to propel themselves forward. Every setback becomes data. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every rejection becomes redirection. When you can embrace failure as proof of action rather than proof of inadequacy, you become a more confident man, because the only people who never fail are the people who never try anything worth doing. Here is what separates men who succeed from men who stay stuck. Confident men take action on a daily basis. This allows them to learn that fear, anxiety, and the unknown are normal feelings that every human experiences. Strengthening the muscle of action empowers you to push through and keep moving forward. Most men spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. Confident men understand that perfection is a myth designed to keep you paralyzed. So they move forward with incomplete information. They adjust as they go. They iterate and improve. They understand that done is better than perfect, and action beats intention every single time. Let me tell you about something that destroys more men than almost anything else: comparison. Genuinely confident men make those around them feel good about themselves. They are generous with praise and quick to acknowledge the accomplishments of others. They understand that everyone is on their own journey and that each person has their own unique set of talents and skills. They do not see the success of others as a threat to their own, but celebrate it as an achievement in its own right. Because when you are secure in who you are, other people winning does not mean you are losing. There is enough success to go around. Confident men understand this at a cellular level. Insecure men see life as a zero-sum game, where someone else getting ahead means they are falling behind. Now, here is something critical about how confident men communicate. They talk at a natural, deliberate pace, not racing through their words, as if afraid of being cut off. They are comfortable enough to let a pause linger without fidgeting. Whether in a meeting, on a date, or while negotiating, they understand that silence can carry just as much weight as words. They do not fill every gap with nervous chatter. They do not feel compelled to dominate every conversation. Rather than dominating conversations, they give others the floor. They ask questions and show genuine interest in what others have to say. They understand that every person they meet has something valuable to offer, a unique perspective, a different approach, a new idea. And this habit does more than make them likable. It broadens their worldview and enhances their understanding of people and situations. Let us talk about debt for a moment. While the middle class relies on consumer debt to finance purchases, the wealthy view debt as a strategic tool rather than a necessity. They understand the crucial difference between good debt, which can generate returns, and bad debt, which drains resources. Wealthy individuals avoid carrying balances on credit cards or financing depreciating assets like cars. Instead, they might leverage debt for investments in real estate, businesses, or other opportunities that have potential to generate income or appreciate. High-interest debt is like a leaky bucket. No matter how much money you pour in, it slips away faster than you can save it. Most middle-class men use credit cards as an emergency fund, swiping for car repairs or medical bills, creating a cycle of debt that feels like security but is really just future slavery disguised as convenience. Here is another massive differentiator. Confident men possess self-awareness, having a deep understanding of their thoughts, emotions, values, and beliefs, and are able to communicate them effectively. Self-awareness allows confident men to make informed decisions, set achievable goals, and navigate challenges with ease. They understand their strengths and weaknesses, and are able to leverage their strengths to their advantage. At the same time, they are aware of their limitations and are not afraid to seek help or support when needed. Most men walk through life on autopilot, never questioning why they do what they do, never examining their patterns, never understanding their triggers. Confident men do the internal work. They know themselves deeply, which means they cannot be manipulated easily. Let us address something uncomfortable: toxic environments and toxic people. Confident men do not stay in situations that drain them. They do not remain in friendships that diminish them. They do not tolerate relationships that destroy them. Once they identify that an environment or person is toxic, they make a plan and they leave. They understand that loyalty to people who harm you is not virtue. It is self-destruction. And here is the thing: genuinely confident men also understand that everyone has off days and that it is okay to not be okay sometimes. They do not beat themselves up over things they cannot control. Instead, they focus on things they can change, and they do so with kindness toward themselves. This habit breeds healthy self-esteem that is deeply rooted and not easily shaken by external circumstances. They practice self-compassion, which is completely different from self-pity. Self-compassion says, "I'm struggling right now," and that is human. Self-pity says, "I am struggling and it is not fair and someone should fix it for me." Now let us talk about the people you surround yourself with, because this might be the most important thing I tell you today. Confident men do not hang out with losers, period. Who you surround yourself with is indicative of where you are going in life. If you are surrounded by low-budget losers, not that they are not cool people, but if they are going nowhere, you are not going to ultimately succeed or become the man you could be. When you surround yourself with people who are uplifting, positive, who serve as role models, who are going in the direction you want to go or have been to where you want to get to, these are the people who will help you achieve greatness. Show me your 5 closest friends, and I will show you your future. It is that simple. If your friends are broke, complaining, stuck, and unmotivated, guess where you will be in 5 years? Exactly where they are. But if your friends are building businesses, improving themselves, taking risks, and winning, you will rise with them. Let me tell you about something most men completely ignore: having a clear vision. Confident men understand the importance of having a vision and make it a priority in their lives. A vision helps you understand why you are doing something and where it will lead you. Having a vision allows you to set specific, measurable, and achievable goals. It provides a roadmap for the future and helps focus time, energy, and resources toward desired outcomes. Most men drift through life reacting to whatever comes their way, never proactive, always reactive, bouncing from one crisis to another. Confident men have clarity about where they are going. They might not have every step mapped out, but they know the direction, and that direction guides every decision they make. Here is something that will make you immediately more confident. Stop apologizing for things that do not require apologies. Confident men do not apologize to everybody. They are not saying sorry constantly. They are not trying to people-please their way through life. They are not nice guys who do things for others just to get something in return. Nice guys are manipulative. They pretend to be helpful or accommodating, but it is deceptive and sneaky. They do things to gain advantage or to make you feel obligated. Confident men respect women and others without being doormats. They are kind, they are considerate, but they do not sacrifice their own needs to make everyone else comfortable. They understand that saying no is a complete sentence, that boundaries are healthy, and that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Now let me tell you about something that separates boys from men: emotional regulation. Confident men are able to manage their emotions effectively and regulate their emotional responses in a healthy manner. This helps them remain calm and level-headed in challenging situations and avoid impulsive or irrational behavior. They do not explode when things go wrong. They do not throw tantrums when they do not get their way. They do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. They feel their feelings, they process them, and then they respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This single skill, emotional regulation, will transform every area of your life. Your relationships will improve, your career will advance, your health will benefit. Everything gets better when you master your emotional responses. Let us talk about something practical: your appearance. Confident men do not dress like slobs. They understand that in the first 3 seconds of meeting someone, that person forms an opinion based solely on non-verbal communication. While middle-class individuals might save for designer items with prominent logos, thinking they signal success, the wealthy prefer understated luxury that focuses on quality and craftsmanship rather than recognition. You do not need expensive clothes. You need clothes that fit properly, that are clean, that are appropriate for the context. You need grooming habits that show you respect yourself. You need hygiene that does not assault people when you walk into a room. Adult men do not smell bad. They do not have bad breath. They do not neglect basic personal maintenance. These are not shallow concerns. They are signals of self-respect, and people pick up on them instantly. Here is something that will change your financial life. People who eventually build wealth avoid stretching themselves to the financial limit. They save between 10 and 20% of what they earn, even when it feels small at first. They build buffers so they do not make bad decisions in moments of panic. Over time, those choices compound. That is how ordinary people build extraordinary wealth. But most men spend every dollar they earn, then wonder why they feel trapped. They increase their spending as their income rises, staying in the same financial position despite making more money. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the primary reasons people stay middle class forever. Confident men resist this urge. They understand that the gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth is built. Now, here is something critical about how confident men handle conflict and grudges. Confident men do not hold grudges. They do not stay mad about things that happened years ago. They compartmentalize. They understand that certain things are not good, that they happened, whatever, but they do not allow those things to occupy mental bandwidth. When you do, it holds you back. It holds you down. It prevents you from moving forward. Forgiveness is not about letting someone off the hook. It is about freeing yourself from the prison of bitterness. Every moment you spend thinking about someone who wronged you is a moment they continue to control your life. Confident men refuse to give anyone that power. Let me tell you about fear, because this is where most men get stuck completely. Adult men may be scared, but they do not allow fear to control their actions. Fear of failure and fear of rejection are the 2 biggest obstacles between you and everything you want. If you expect to accomplish anything, you have to take action. And if you are waiting for perfect timing, it does not exist. You have to jump and then figure it out as you go. Once you can embrace that failure is normal and that acting despite fear is necessary, you break the power of shame, that holds so many men back from ever trying or attempting to attain their desired goals. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you have tried. That is the difference. They are not less afraid. They are just more willing to move forward despite the fear. Here is something about validation that confident men understand deeply. They do not constantly seek approval by posting on social media or showcasing their, quote, amazing, extravagant life, unquote. Privacy and being detached from the internet have become genuine status symbols among the wealthy. They do not try to impress everybody. They do not brag. They do not beat their chest. They do not get loud just to prove they are right. People who constantly need external validation are revealing their insecurity. When you know who you are, you do not need an audience to confirm it. You do not need likes to feel valuable. You do not need comments to feel seen. You exist fully whether anyone is watching or not. Now let me address something that destroys men: self-destructive behaviors. Confident men do not get blackout drunk. Nobody likes being around the sloppy drunk guy. Period. It is not a good look. It is not impressive. It is pathetic. If you are abusing drugs, if you are smoking constantly, if you are engaging in behaviors that harm your body and mind, you are not living like a confident man. You are running from something. And whatever you are running from will still be there when you sober up. Self-destructive behavior is not rebellion. It is self-sabotage. And confident men do not sabotage themselves. They protect themselves. They invest in themselves. They build themselves up rather than tearing themselves down. Let us talk about something that might surprise you. Confidence and a positive outlook on life are closely related, and men who are confident often possess a positive and optimistic mindset. Confident men understand that life is a journey filled with ups and downs, and they choose to focus on the good in every situation. They understand that success is not a linear process and that there will be obstacles along the way. Instead of becoming discouraged or defeated, they view these challenges as opportunities to grow and learn. This does not mean they are unrealistic or naive. It means they refuse to be defeated by circumstances. They control their mindset, which means they control how they experience life. Here is your bottom line. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you build through consistent choices. Every time you take action despite fear, you build confidence. Every time you set a boundary and enforce it, you build confidence. Every time you acknowledge a mistake and learn from it, you build confidence. Every time you invest in yourself rather than trying to impress others, you build confidence. Confidence can be improved through intentional effort and practice, such as setting achievable goals, speaking positively about oneself, seeking feedback from others, and learning from failures. If you want to eliminate middle-class thinking from your life, start with these non-negotiables. Stop chasing validation from social media. Stop buying things to impress people who do not matter. Stop hanging around people who are going nowhere. Stop making excuses for why you cannot level up. Stop staying in toxic situations. Stop letting fear control your decisions. Stop neglecting your physical and mental health. Stop carrying debt like it is normal. Stop comparing yourself to everyone around you. Stop waiting for perfect conditions before you take action. Start building multiple income streams. Start investing in appreciating assets. Start surrounding yourself with winners. Start setting and enforcing boundaries. Start taking action despite fear. Start practicing gratitude daily. Start managing your emotions like an adult. Start dressing like you respect yourself. Start saving a portion of everything you earn. Start focusing on what you can control. Start celebrating other people without feeling threatened. Start building a clear vision for where you want to go. These are not suggestions, these are requirements if you want to become a truly confident man who commands respect naturally. Every single day, you are either building confidence or destroying it through your choices. There is no neutral. You are either moving forward or sliding backward. Which direction are you moving right now? If you found value in what you learned today, subscribe to Man of Elegance and activate notifications. Leave a like if you want to be an elegant and powerful man who transforms his presence into tangible success. These videos take significant research and time to create, so your support through a like genuinely helps this content reach more men who need to hear it. And listen, if you are serious about transforming yourself, consider becoming a channel member. Memberships start at just $4.99 per month. Click the Be a Member button below. Your support allows me to continue creating in-depth content that challenges middle-class thinking and elevates your standards. Let me recap what we covered. We discussed how confident men have eliminated validation seeking through social media, how they have stopped buying depreciating assets to impress others, how they have abandoned loud designer logos for understated quality, how they have embraced vulnerability and admit mistakes, how they take action despite fear, how they maintain emotional regulation under pressure, how they build multiple income streams instead of relying on one paycheck, how they practice daily gratitude and set healthy boundaries, how they refuse to play victim and take ownership of outcomes, how they celebrate others without feeling threatened, how they invest in physical and mental health, how they avoid toxic people and environments, how they speak deliberately and embrace silence, how they use debt strategically rather than impulsively, how they possess deep self-awareness, how they maintain a clear vision for their future, how they resist lifestyle inflation, how they release grudges quickly, how they prioritize privacy over public validation, and how they build themselves up rather than destroying themselves through self-sabotage. These are not just behaviors. They are the foundation of genuine confidence that cannot be faked. Adopt these principles and watch how differently people respond to you. Watch how opportunities appear. Watch how your internal state transforms from anxious and approval-seeking to grounded and self-assured. If this resonated with you, comment below. Confidence is built daily. 6 words. Comment that if you appreciated what you learned. And remember, subscribe to Man of Elegance and hit that like button if you want to continue your journey toward becoming an elegant and powerful man. Your transformation starts with a single decision to stop accepting mediocrity and start demanding excellence from yourself. The choice is yours. Make it count.